We live. We live. Oh, looks like my screen needs an adjustment. A little brighter, a little earlier time. I get some people some time to come in. Let me make sure we hitting on all channels. So what's up? Hey, if you're coming in, drop me a line. Let me know how you're doing. Hope everybody enjoyed their week. Let me know what type of plans y'all got coming up this weekend. Oh, my camera is having a hard time focusing. Oh, I think that worked. Thomas, what's up? What's up, man? I seen the news about your family member, bro. This is my first time seeing you online since then, man. My condolences to you. I hope you're doing well, bro. I appreciate you taking the time to come in tonight, man. Bro, you got my number. If you ever need to talk, I'm here for you, bro. So welcome back, and I hope you're doing well. All right, so look, I really don't want to delay this too much. We are 5 minutes past 8. Man, we gonna pretty much get this thing started. Brandon, what's going on? Appreciate you for popping in as usual, man. You are a frequent supporter. Man, I am here today with, you know what? I'll pass it to him, man. Introduce yourself, where you from. All the good jazz. Yeah, I got you muted, Roger. Let me unmute you. I apologize for that. I'm
There
sorry.
we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so I'm Roger Stout. I'm part owner of Rogue Bully Camp along with my wife. And we're located in West Virginia, north central West Virginia, actually.
Where can they find you at on multiple platforms if you have them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can find me, Roger Stout, on Facebook, my wife, Dina Stout, on Facebook, on Instagram, or Rogue Bully Camp. Website roguebullycamp.com. Most social medias you're going to find Rogue Bully Camp, ROGUE. Everyone spells it wrong, even me.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. And listen, we are not stingy with the promotion and the sharing of platforms. Roger's on my podcast. He probably don't want to talk about his podcast because he's on my podcast, but I don't give a damn about that, man. Please let them know about your podcast.
Yeah. So we do the Go Rogue podcast. We do that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It is on all platforms. Pretty much you can find it on any podcast platform, YouTube, whatever. And so the platform is just pretty much we just want to bring breeders on, have real world conversations. We've had some extremely, popular breeders on, and we bring just breeders like us too, so it's not all superstars. But it's just like I kind of like pitch it like the Joe Rogan kind of, you know what I mean? Just kind of a laid back.
So you're doing more than just breeders too, though, like judges, presidents,
yeah,
CEOs,
yeah,
the whole nine.
Well, we've
Anthony,
been really
what's
blessed.
up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, we've been really blessed. ABKC, BRC, all their high ups in those organizations have kind of blessed us with their presence. So yeah, and it's nice to be able to reach out to those people and just say, hey, we want to come on the show, talk about this. We want to talk about the Merle. We want to talk about whatever. And typically they'll come on and have a conversation with us. So it's good for sure.
Where is Go Rogue podcast? Because I know you have a YouTube. Did you mention your YouTube? If you didn't, please do.
Yeah, we do have it's good. The Go Rogue, so it's the Go Rogue podcast on all platforms. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Even though we don't go live on Instagram because this particular platform doesn't integrate well. But yeah, it's available on all those. But yeah, we're doing a push right now, try to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So definitely look us up on YouTube and give us a sub.
Yeah, I would say y'all definitely do that. Turn the bell notification on. They go live on Wednesdays. I want to say like 7 mostly,
Yep.
depending on, I guess, the host sometimes may vary the time, but it's on Wednesdays evening, man. Y'all put your bell on. It's great information. It's stuff that's going to move the breed, push it forward, and actually, unite us more than it is separating us. So I always support that channel when I don't have anything going on Wednesdays. And if you rock with me, please rock with Roger Stout and Go Rogue.
Appreciate it.
Hey, listen, I don't want to jump right directly into this, Roger, because I got some questions for you, man.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of shooting from the hip. So let's just have a little fun with it. One of the things I want to ask you about for sure, is lately I've been seeing you've been tinkering. You've been tinkering with a lot of prints and cooler designs and whatnot, man. What do you have going on over there in that space?
Well, the weird part is, I this has always been a problem in my life. If I do anything, I turn it into a hobby. That's just, or take my hobby and turn it into a business. So I bought a 3D printer, and immediately, was kind of solving some problems for myself, especially with like my whelping box and issues I was having with the whelping box. And so I just kind of went through and kind of fixed some stuff that was going on with the whelping box. And then people are like, hey, you need to put that online. People are going to want that, So I, of course, threw it up on my website and people started ordering. So, with the Easy Weld Classic, the one with the white plastic one, those caps that go on top, they just fly off. I mean, if you have one of those, you just kick it, and the cap will fly off and fly across the room. And then, some dog snatches it up and chews it up, and then it's over. So most people I've seen with those classics, they just have no caps on them at all. Like, they're all gone. So, I used CAD software and then redesigned those caps, extended them. That way they go deeper down into the extrusion and hold on. And then it started, adding some useful stuff like paper towel holders that integrate into those caps. So when you put your caps back in, it actually holds.
Wipes and,
baby wipes and phone holders so you can live stream from inside your whelping box.
It's just turning into like a tree branch. It's just it's growing, and you're finding new things you can add to it. So you're going back in there working out the prototypes, and you will have this stuff available for the community, I assume.
Yeah, it's on my website now. I kind of go at least 2 revisions, try it out myself, make sure everything looks good, and then I'll put it on the website for everyone to just snack up. So I do that. I started off with, when we collect our studs and ship them out, there are certain things that would make my life easier, right? So holding centrifuge tubes and pipettes and all this stuff. So I kind of built a station so I could hold my centrifuge tubes and my extender tubes and my pipettes. That way I'm all in one work area. So I did that, and then we moved that into what I call the equalization station. But basically all you're doing is bringing your semen and your extender into the same temperature before you combine them. Obviously, you don't want to shock the semen by a huge difference in temperature. So I created that, which you fill with basically warm or hot water. Then you put your centrifuge tube and your extender tube down in, and you kind of let them sit there and equalize that temperature before you combine them. So it started off with those 2. Did a couple other things, and then we just had a Frenchie litter. So we're spending time in the whelping box. So since my focus is there, then, all the stuff on the whelping box obviously came to be. So, whatever the next thing is, it'll probably move to the kennel next. So I'll probably design.
These are practical applications. You're finding out what you need to add as you realize you don't have it.
Well, not only that, but it's just, the kind of that, not necessarily create the products, but to take a look at a product that pre-exists and say, okay, what can I do to fix this problem as me as a breeder? Because everyone else goes through the same thing I go through. When I'm using that whelping box, they're doing the same things I'm doing. So they're probably aggravated the same way I am when the caps don't work or my paper towel roll falls off into the floor, and then I've got to try to reach over the rail and pick it up. So just kind of solutions to everyday problems that people are having.
Genius. I like it. I love it. You drop that stuff on there. I'm definitely tuned in. I let you know, like, hey man, you're killing it. Shout out to May Kayla, Eddie Powell just dropped in, man. How y'all doing? Hope y'all enjoyed y'all week. Hope y'all have a great weekend ahead of you, especially if you're going to show. Hope y'all have safe travels and you bring back some hardware for yourself and your camp. Can't thank y'all enough for the support. We're gonna get into this pedigree, but I just got one more question for Roger because I see what he's doing, man, and he is moving the needle. How many people out there see their programs, see their dogs, whether it's Seven, Machiavelli, Ice Age, Ultros? Ah, man, am I missing some studs? It's more than that. What's the young fella we're going to be doing tonight? The future. Like, y'all see these studs and y'all want putbacks and y'all don't know how to act? Man, I think Roger just fucking pushed the needle forward on that too. Man, speak about that, Roger.
What about the putback thing?
Yeah, what how you want to handle that? Because I think this is interesting, and this is something. This is a new pivot for I would say a stud owner and how you're presenting this pup back thing. I don't want to steal the thunder, so explain to them what you want to do with that.
Okay. Well, what I thought about was early on when I was new, and number one, reaching out to a known stud owner, you're kind of nervous about that in the first place, right? Because you're probably thinking he's going to tell you to piss off, whatever, or not even respond to you, period. So I always look at it as the consumer side of things, not how I handle it, but how my clients would handle that situation, right? So I see people all the time that show me a dog and they're like, well, some people are overly confident. Don't get me wrong. But there are people out there that have super nice dogs, but they're not confident in that dog. They don't understand what they hold. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like they wouldn't necessarily approach us. And so my idea was this is a very anonymous way. You're not talking to me. You're not going to get a response from me. I'm not going to send you a laughy face, tell you to piss off or whatever. You know what I mean? It's very anonymous. You're going to go there. You're going to attach a couple of photos. You're going to put your pedigree link in and you're going to submit it. Now, obviously, if you hear from me, then we're interested. If you don't, then we're not. So it's not like you're never put on the spot. You're never feel embarrassed because some guy told you he didn't like your dog or for whatever. You know what I mean? So for me, it was just easier that way. But it lets us deal with a lot more too. I mean, I can get 5, 6, 7 submissions a day. I can get to them when I get to them, but I'm not leaving anybody hanging. They have a sense of completion. They got it out there.
Is this live now?
Yeah.
Or is this coming?
No, it's up there.
That's live now.
Yeah.
So
we got about.
You got a bad bitch.
Yeah.
I'm guessing in a bad pedigree.
Yeah.
Or you got a nice pedigree and a not so nice bitch, or vice versa. They'll be the judge of that. Man, it's an opportunity here that didn't exist if you were afraid to possibly reach out for a pup back. I think this is a really cool way to go about that and kind of change the narrative on pup back. So salute to you, Roger, for being innovative, man.
I appreciate it.
I don't even know. I can't, if nobody's giving you your flowers, man, you're innovative, bro.
I appreciate it.
Even down to your website, like you're innovative. I like it. And when I see somebody doing something the right way, I steal it.
Right. That's good. That's good. But no, for me, it's always about, okay, so young, I kind of got into sales. So I'm always dealing as a salesperson. And then, I had the typical job as a kid, McDonald's. And my problem was my brain always tried to figure out how to most efficiently do everything. So if I'm making cheeseburgers, I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it. Sell something, I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it. So this is the same thing. I'm putting myself in my client's shoes and saying, how can I most efficiently make life easy for them? Right? If they go to my website to go lock in a stud and they're like, nah, I don't know if I want Mac or whatever, or who, whatever. But they go there, they click lock in. If at some point, if things get complicated, they might just be like, piss it, I can't figure out how to do this. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Right. So the smoother things go, the easier they are for people, the better. So this is just another one of those things. Like I'm just trying to make things as easy and smooth as possible.
Right. And feel like if you're afraid of denial, you don't have to really worry about getting that denial directly. Right. You just don't get an approval.
Yeah, you just don't get a message,
Right.
Because you just don't. No one wants to hear that. I don't want to hear it. I'm the same way. when I was reaching out to stud owners before and like, hey, I want a pup or whatever, or wanted to interested if they were to want to do a pup back or whatever, it's that moment, that response, that kind of negative energy, like that's gone now. Like you can confidently submit your request and just wait and see if you get a response. Nice and easy.
Scott White, Mamang, Vince Carter, Kylan, Andrew Clark, Nikki. Good evening, Aspen. Good evening. Good evening to y'all. Happy Friday, man. People in here saying they need bacon on their cheeseburgers, Roger. That's Andrew Clark.
Back in my day, McDonald's, we didn't do no bacon.
So that's something that's new. Hey, so yeah, those are those questions I had for you, man. I just had this opportunity here to probe you and let the people know what you got going on, which I think is genius to me. So y'all should be, look forward to being able to get some putbacks for me the same way pretty soon here. And I think the way that they're doing things, I assume that you don't mind if it catches on like fire, because I think it's a good thing. Kendall, what's going on? Without further ado, man, we are going to jump into this pedigree. Very interesting one. So let's get it started. All right, y'all. Interesting pedigree. I'm gonna bring that up, and I think Roger's gonna do the driving today, man.
I can.
And yeah. You've been in the hot seat before.
Oh, sure.
You have your own hot seat, so I'm gonna let you do the driving on this one. Where
let's start at the bottom. Roger. Yeah, let's start at the bottom.
Let's start at the bottom.
Okay.
And when the comments come in, I'll throw them up here for you. If anybody got any questions for you, me and Roger's going to go off the screen for a brief second so that you all can get a good view of this pedigree, and we'll be back on.
Nice. Yeah, so on the bottom here, I'm sure you're familiar with, a bunch of people are familiar with Cocaine Cowgirl. So she's a Grimm daughter. And this is a breeding to Bark Wahlberg. And where that is significant, so this is Mesmerize Me, which is one of our females. But that breeding is the breeding that created Zero Barks Given.
Okay. So this is his littermate sister.
Yes. So Mimi is Zero Barks Given's littermate. Beautiful female, very correct. Typical of what you would expect from Grimm blood. And then the addition of Bark Wahlberg did amazing. Unfortunately, none of these are links because they're
That's a breeding banner.
Yeah, it's just like a breeding thing that includes the images, but it doesn't have any links. So Bark Wahlberg, as I remember, I can't remember what he is behind, but
he has some
Razor's Edge in
Axel back there. Is it Axel?
Axel, yeah.
Yeah, and Axel's gonna take you back to Rowdy Town. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we can't click on the links there, but I will see if I can pull Bark Wahlberg up outside of this. But you can go on. I'll see if I can pull him up.
Okay. So that combination, Sam Leem did that combo. Of course, he created Zero Barks Given from that, and amazing dog. And Mimi is obviously one of those off of that litter too. Amazing female. So when we didn't actually own Mimi at the time this breeding was done, this was done by our previous owner, and when they took her to Smeagol, and then this created Grand Champion My Precious. We've had her since she was a puppy. She's a co-owned with Sam Leem. She is currently still the youngest ABKC female Grand Champion.
What was that? 10 months?
Huh?
10 months was it?
Yeah, 10 months old. She granded. And she's just to this day, she's an exceptional female. I mean, she is just amazing. I love everything about her. Of course, if you want to nitpick their little things here and there, I can tear apart. But for the most part, you'd be hard pressed to put her in a ring and find any major faults with her. She's just a great dog.
So I was able to find the pedigree for him. So I will bring that up, and then we will jump back into the full pedigree.
Gotcha.
All right. So
There we
Mark
go.
Wahlberg, as I thought, he goes to Axel,
Yep.
and Axel is going to take you to Rowdy Town.
Yeah.
Right. And Axel is, I want to say, the only pocket national winning dog. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the only pocket to win nationals.
Yeah.
So you guys take Axel, you take him to Mark Wahlberg, and Axel's a national winning grand champion.
Yeah.
And wait, I'm sorry. Let me get back into your pedigree for the future. So Axel wins nationals. You get Mark Wahlberg, then Mark Wahlberg produces a national winner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it skipping every generation?
No, actually, the weird part is if you would have looked at it like that lineage, if Mimi would have gotten shown, because I actually got to show Mimi a couple times, and she did amazing. Like, she would clean up every time I put her in the ring. So, honestly, I believe that she would have been a grand champ. So, you're looking at from Axel to Mark Wahlberg to Mimi to Precious would have all been ABKC grand champions.
Oh, I was speaking on national.
National winners.
Yeah.
No, well, you got zero, obviously.
Yeah.
That's off Mark Wahlberg. So yeah, multi-generational national winners in that line.
So are we going to see something again pretty soon here?
I don't know. The weird part was, when we did this breeding, I
Joe Mills, you're correct. You are.
Okay, yeah, bus. Yeah.
Thank you.
When I did this breeding, I actually never intended to breed a show dog per se, right? So the thing is that Smeagol is not here in the United States, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like with him and Lester, this is blood I needed in my program.
Right.
And I could, of course, you could buy a Smeagol credit, run it, right? If it turned out okay or it didn't turn out okay, whatever, maybe you choose to run it again. Instead of buying multiple credits, I thought, let's do something maybe a little questionable, let's run Smeagol to his own daughter. Precious is amazing. Obviously, Smeagol had his effect on her. She looks like Smeagol in a lot of ways.
Right.
So we decided, okay, we're going to double up on Smeagol, right? So genetically, the future is 75% Smeagol, like his genetically.
Mm-hmm.
But that also doubles up on Lester. So, he's 2 times Lester, obviously 2 times Smeagol. So we were trying to create kind of that super compact, crazy looking, not golden child blood, but golden child sized dog. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kind of that was the goal. And
how's that turning out so far for you?
Okay, well, let's just let me cover something else first. So, just having that blood stateside to me meant a lot. That means now the blood is in my yard. I can use it whenever I want to. I can use it on whoever I want to, and I don't have to pay. Yeah, it's lacking 25% genetically, but it's pretty much the same thing, right? And so now I've got it. Now I've got it stateside, and I can have it fresh anytime I want it. So that breeding made sense. So we go ahead and do the breeding, and typical of tightly inbred situation, we get 2 viable puppies from it. One of them is the future. He's the male. And then we get a female, and we named her the Truth. Future is Lester up and down. Like, almost a carbon copy, in my opinion. Like it would be hard. I don't know if you've seen like I think I posted I posted a picture of him in my Facebook post to about being on the show tonight. He is up and down about to me about the same, even as a young dog, and looks good. Not what we expected, honestly. I mean, Precious is like a 13-inch dog, and Smeagol's tiny too. So this is a good example of what is behind the dog that's standing in front of you can produce. So, if you were just looking at the dogs in front of us, we're going to assume we're going to create some like super small, compact dogs. You know what I mean? And now comes Future, and we have a 15-inch dog with some legs under him, still got that kind of signature head that Smeagol has. And of course Lester has. So it was a surprise, obviously, but at the same time, we loved everything about it. We were like, great.
How old is he, Roger?
He is he's a little over a year now, just a little over a year. Yeah, we opened him up pretty early to do some early locks, and we didn't
demand there,
huh?
It was a demand there.
Yeah, and we didn't promote it a whole lot. We didn't really push for a lot of people to lock him in. We were just like, we're just going to open him up, and then we officially opened him up, and we immediately took his stud fee to the moon. We took him right to $5,000, and the reason being is like this is our production, and it's our tool, and if someone else wants to use it, then obviously it's such a rare thing. There's lots of Smeagol kids, right? There's not a lot of there's no other inbred Smeagol kids. Like this is literally the only inbred Smeagol stud in the world.
And then it's my Precious who went out there and grand champ at 10 months.
Yep.
Back to her father.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we also got a female off of it, and we call her the Truth. And I posted some videos of her. Now she's Smeagol, up and down. Like she is a female Smeagol. She's a little bit lighter. She's not quite as dark as him, but she's a female Smeagol. She's super short, super compact, and I'm like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Maybe not necessarily because I wanted. Let me see. What are my lights on now? Let me see if we can kick a different one on. I kind of wanted a male that was super compact like that, but at the end of the day, I'll take a female. Still same stuff.
Yeah, continue the blood, the process.
Right. Because really, all I'm trying to do is I've got a ton of Grim blood, right? And I'm Grim tight. I got tons of Grim blood. I need other blood in my program, but I still want to be self-contained. I still want to breed within my own program, and I don't have to go out so much. So this was a good breeding. It created a pretty much pure, I mean, we're talking 75% pure version of this muscle tone blood that's overseas in Poland, and put it right directly in our yard to use, a male and a female.
So when you go out, you typically prefer a line bred male. If you was to go out of your Grim blood,
right,
and you go and get something like this, you want it to be tightly bred to bring into your program.
Well, yeah, because I'm looking for consistency at the end of the day, right? And when they breed it out to something else. And if I'm after a specific blood, I don't want half of it. I want all of it. So when that's tightly bred like that, now I know I'm getting the purest version of what it could be.
Will Future dog that you? All right, it looks like we got a question coming in. Will
Okay.
Future dog that you was Future dog that? Wait, well, you're confused me. Will Future a dog that you be? Will Future be a dog that you are expecting to try to live the golden child life of being the top stud, or is he going to be more exclusive? Okay, I get the question.
I see what he's saying.
Yeah. Are you planning on having Future to be very active and be a top stud, or you want to keep him exclusive?
I'm not trying to keep him exclusive necessarily, but I'm not pushing him in that and like that. The purpose of the breeding was to create a tool for me. for me to use in the future. So something off of future, something off of the truth will probably be something I aggressively promote. But at the end of the day, he's open. Anybody can use him, and people have, people do. But at the end of the day, that breeding was for us. We spent the first couple of years, even though we had dogs out there for people to see, we spent more time breeding for us, to bring tools into our yard for our future breedings.
Question again: is he more for breeding, or does he fit show?
He definitely could show, without doubt. He's probably cleaner than a lot of people would expect from that breeding, honestly.
Will you be outside with them?
Willie, we may bring him at some point. That particular blood, I don't know how many people know Lester or got to see Lester or know much about Lester, but that blood is very slow to mature, very slow to mature. So even at a year old now, he's looking good, but you can tell he's got a long way to go. So unfortunately, with our community, you get one shot. You bring the dog out. If he's not right, boom, it's over. You don't get second chances, really. So I tend to keep dogs away probably longer than I should. And that really affects their popularity too, just because, you're not popping out with a dog until it's 2 years old. No one's ever heard of it. I mean, unless it's the size of 7, that's just an unusual dog. Everyone pays attention to that. You know what I mean? It just
you popped out with Machiavelli. He was young. I threw a show here in Virginia.
Yeah. He was about a year old, I think, maybe.
Yeah, he was young, 2021. And even then as a puppy, I was like, yeah, I gotta, keep my eyes on this boy. And I just seen him, he changed. Even though he was amazing then, he's a totally different dog than he was like 3 years ago now. So I want to see him today, so I can gauge like how much of a difference is. I can tell in the photos. So, even though you guys popped him out early, maybe for what you guys are used to doing, it worked.
Yeah. He weird is he started to show like he's gonna have massive shoulders and he's gonna have a ton of bone. And when he was around a year old, we were like, man, he's starting to show like some mass. You know what I mean? So we were like, maybe we'll start bringing him out, letting people see him. We didn't have a clue. We had no idea how much more this dog was going to grow. So he just continued and continued. So it's still the same cycle. It's still like that 3-year cycle. It's just that what you saw in the first year was what you kind of expected to see at the end of that 3-year cycle, right? So you're thinking, wow, he grew up quick. But in reality, he didn't. He wasn't even close to done yet. So now the dog's just massive. He's just massive everywhere.
Another question then for you, Roger. It says, have you had a puppy off him yet? And if you did, I'd like to ask a question because I'm new to this world and I've bred to Precious Littermate brother. What age did you say, like, yeah, he definitely fits what I wanted? When did your dog pop?
As far as what, future?
He says he bred to Precious Littermate brother. So something,
which is Prometheus. So I think he's probably asking, like, when is my puppy off of Prometheus going to show some result? And I will tell you for sure that it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute.
Patience.
I know it's like that Smeagol blood. You think, oh man, he's super short and compact.
No, he says future. He says he wants to know when future.
Oh, when future started to show.
Yeah.
Right around the year he started, right? So right at this year point, I'm starting to see the broadness in the chest and the shoulders. Again, this isn't a blood I'm super familiar with. I've never got to see Lester. I'm sure you haven't either. Most of us haven't. We haven't got to see Smeagol. So we're breeding kind of blind. We don't even know what we're breeding to for the most part, which, not something I'm typically willing to do. I generally go see a dog, put hands on a dog before I breed to it, if I can. Or if he's just so well documented, that there's enough documentation out there that I feel pretty confident, then I'm fine with that. But this dog's over. He's in Poland. Like, I can't put hands on him. So we didn't know how the blood would evolve, and it just seems to be on the typical track. I figure by 3 he's going to be 100% what he could be.
Yeah, he said he just wanted to know if if the blood took a longer time or if it moved fast,
No,
like Rocco blood.
no, and in reality, Rocco blood doesn't move fast either. It just moves faster than it looks. It progresses at a year more than you would typically see from other bloods, but it's not done. It's still on that same cycle. It's still on that 3-year cycle. It's just you just see so much more at a year than you would typically.
Right.
Yeah, and any one of them. 7 was the same way. We were like, oh yeah, he's pretty big at a year. Oh, 2 years. Oh my God. You know what I mean? He just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Yeah. So he's still 2 years old. So we've got another whole year of growth.
So what's your plans with if it's not too early to ask, because I know these are young dogs. What's your plan as far as moving this blood forward? How do you foresee you going with this? You have the male and the female.
Mm-hmm.
How do you foresee yourself moving the blood with the male and with the female?
So in that case, Future is going to be a great tool for us to use on. We have Grimm daughters. We have what else we have female wise. We've got Grimm daughters. We've got some so the same lineage as Zero Barks Given. So I've got a female that was Zero Barks Given's litter mate bred to Magic Mike. So I've got that female. She actually produced Post Malone recently in her first breeding. So I've got her. That's one I can breed to. I've got some Grimm daughters. I've got Colossal daughter. So I've got a bunch of Grimm Rocco blood, and he is the tool for me to create the outcross.
How many dogs do you have, Roger?
Oh, gee. I lost count, to be honest, but it's somewhere in the range of 25.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So that's a handful, man. That's a handful. Question for you again: do you ever see the Future meeting 7 in a breeding?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when I asked you maybe a year or so ago, like, are you meeting Machiavelli in 7? Has that happened, or do you
It
plan to
probably
meet
will. It probably will. They're not as tightly, like they're both 3 times Grimm, right?
Mhm.
And I've pushed the limits very, very few times on how far I can push Grimm blood before it gets too crazy.
Okay.
We did a breeding to Machiavelli to our actually we did a breeding to Machiavelli to our Colossal daughter, and we co-owned out some of those puppies, so they're coming up, they're growing. You're going to see those start popping out. But when I look at Machiavelli 3 times Grimm, I'm always looking at him as an outcross guy. Like he's got a huge concentration of Grimm, and when you do that, you really start to get these crazy built up muscles, super wide shoulders, big heads, big necks, right? So he was basically bred to be taken to something that isn't Grimm blood or is line bred Grimm blood and bring those attributes to that breeding, right? So he is there for that purpose. 7 is there for that purpose. 7 is off of a grand champion, ABKC grand champion, Zero Barks Given, and Golden Child's sister, Remy the Hemi.
And someone said, basically, Joe Mills is saying, Colossal is a Cali grandson, and I know he's talking Miss Cali.
Miss Cali, yeah.
I don't think it's
off the top. I don't remember.
Yeah, it is, right? Because that's Ruby Rockstar. Yeah, that's Rockstar, and then you got right. So I get what he's saying. So you're looking at like 2 times Cali. You got Cocaine Cowgirl meeting Ruby Rockstar, and both of them sharing Miss Cali as a mom. So,
and honestly, Miss Cali, like that was the sauce. A lot of people don't know about her. A lot of people don't know about Miss Callie.
I think they do.
I mean, if you look
Yeah,
at Machiavelli and you look at Miss Callie, Machiavelli is just like an extremely blowed up version of her.
yeah, Joe Mills. Yes, yes. So Mac meeting Colossus two times Miss Callie.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You probably landing that Miss Callie in the what fourth gen on those puppies on both sides. Yeah, I'm telling you. So Joe says, oh, he knows Miss Callie is the sauce. He is aware, and apparently Joe is trying to tell the whole game that Miss Callie is the sauce too. Joe, log off. You're giving up too much
Giving
game.
up the secrets.
Yeah, yeah. You're giving up too much, Joe. Let these people find out on their on oh man. That's what Ped Talks is for, man. It's a lot of research behind this. And we got somebody on here like Roger who has a lot of this blood in his yard. And I mean, you can hear it from him, but you can look at the dogs and you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. All we share, like, if you go to the website, you click on studs or females. Now, I'll admit I don't have all my females on there. The only time I list a female on my website is if she's going to be bred at some point. Then I'll put her on there where people can familiarize themselves with the female. But if they're not of breeding age yet or they haven't had a litter yet, they're not on my website. So there's a bunch of dogs. I have a lot of studs, but I'm primarily females.
Yeah, Jason, I see your comment, man. If if you want to talk to Roger about using something, you said you emailed him, so just give him an opportunity to get back to it. I don't really want to get into that. If you're trying to use a stud or whatnot, I know he's here, he's online, but I really don't want you to take that opportunity to, you know,
Yeah, just message me. We can do that.
yeah. Just message him, and if you were looking for a pup back, then he has that link up. Send your picture and send your pedigree, and he may be open to a pup back. But in the meantime, let's try to focus on if you got any questions about this dog, this pedigree, and where he's going with it. So yeah. Anyways, we kind of went down a little rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
So you tell me what you gonna use future for, and then we started talking Mac and that. We was really saying the direction that you plan on taking the future and the truth. Like, are you going to go in two different directions with them, or are you going to see the male version with the same blood versus the female version with breeding to the same blood?
Yeah. So my intent was to always incorporate them into my Grim Blood dogs.
Mhm.
Um, and then I've got some separation. Obviously, Mac 7, these are Grim dogs, but they're unrelated for the most part. So it gives me some ability to go to that Smeagol blood, come back to the Grim blood, back and forth. Having a female, having a male. I have other bloods too, but this is the primary mission was I felt like bringing Lester, Casablanca, Smeagol, bringing all those together and putting them in my yard and being able to match those up with Grim was going to produce something that I was looking for. You know what I mean? So that was the motivation behind it, period. Like, I didn't care if he became a popular stud. I didn't care if anybody used him. That was zero motivation for me as far as why I did the breeding. It was 100% just to create a tool for me. Now, if other people want to use him, obviously that's fine. But no, that wasn't the motivation at all.
Right, and this some overseas blood, and a lot of planning to get to this overseas once, take time, Grand Champa dog, overseas again, take time, and now you see probably 3 years of planning in front of you now, maybe four.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in, you're not coming in at ground level.
No, yeah, and you're right. It did. It took that long. It took that long. And there's a learning curve when you come into the breed in the first place. So, I was lucky enough to have a mentor that was able to kind of push me in direction and say, look, you are building a program for 10 years from now. You need to start making moves toward building that foundation now. So it wasn't a breeding that I planned on selling any puppies from, and I never did. and that in itself, you go to the community and say, hey, I'm gonna have a breeding and I'm not selling shit, and people will be like, what? Like, well,
Welcome, welcome. We met another one.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
all for it too. I'm
So
all for it.
just keep it and say, hey, I'm gonna do this breeding, I'm gonna keep everything, and because it's going to be my tool and I can use it as many times as I want because it's right here. I don't have to pay for it anymore. So, I mean, that was solely the motivation behind it.
Kendall, I see your question. I'm going to just save it a little bit toward when Roger's done, and then we'll ask questions because I get sidetracked, man, and I be ready to go down these rabbit holes with y'all because these some pretty good questions, man.
Yeah.
But I try really, really hard to keep myself focused the first time. So I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to do that. So, I just want to follow Roger uh, down this journey of this breeding that he's been working on for 4+ years now,
Yeah.
and where it is going to go. And so you have the truth, who you say she's more of a Smeagol, and the future is more of the Lester.
Yeah.
So are you looking to have a male that resembles more of the truth? Like, are you
Mm,
going to breed her to something
I
that's
mean, if I would have been okay with that, if Future came out and he would have been more Smeagol, like the super short, whatever,
Mhm.
then I'd have been all right with that too. You know, um, my program goes in a couple different directions. Like I like tall pockets, short standards. That's my favorite kind of dog. It really is. But at the end of the day, not necessarily the most popular dog in our community.
no?
You know what I mean? When dogs start pushing the level of standard, they're just not quite the most popular dog in the community.
I know, right? Why is
And
that? They're the
to me,
most
it seems
winning
crazy.
dogs, though.
If they have phenotype, if they have type, they look like an American bully and they're that size. Like to me, that's the greatest thing in the world.
Hmm.
But not the most popular size in our community. So having those super short, kind of crazy pockets is not a bad thing, right? It helps you fund your program. You can have litters, you can sell puppies, you can do co-owns, you can actually create some funds so you can do more breedings. So it's kind of both sides, right? I'm doing pockets and I'm basically still doing pockets. They're just on both ends of the spectrum. So future I would keep toward that taller end of the spectrum, right? He's a 15-inch male. So I'm going to keep him toward that taller end. I'm going to breed him to
Okay.
my pocket females that tend to be a little taller,
Hmm.
just to kind of shorten them up a little bit. Again, we look beyond the pedigree, and you got Bison and Lester, and all these dogs. These weren't tiny dogs. These were bigger dogs, right? So it really was. Smeagol was kind of like the
Anomaly there.
yeah, he was the anomaly, right? So he was the unicorn in the bloodline. Like most of the dogs are not tiny like that. So I guess I shouldn't have been surprised when I got Future and he wasn't a Smeagol, like he was more of a Lester. But as he started to mature, that headpiece, that's just such a signature thing. If you look at Lester's headpiece, if you look at Smeagol's headpiece, is just absolutely love that headpiece. Actually love like the chest width on that dog. Like there's a lot about that dog I really love. Um, Not a dog I got to see in person, unfortunately. So, you just go by the pictures that you have available to you. But absolutely was happy with that. So now she is that super short, like maybe borderline micro. I don't know. I haven't measured her. Like she's small, but we're talking massive shoulders, massive hips to match, like front to back. She's what you would consider just a crazy female. She's precious, more compact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's something else.
And I
Uh,
believe you had Precious at that Virginia show too when you came out there.
I may have.
Did
She
you
was
bring
pretty
her?
young though.
Yeah. Was she there? I feel like it was a fawn female there that was just cleaning shit up. I feel like it was her. I can't
Yeah,
recall.
it very coded well. I would have to ask Dina, but there's a very possibility.
Yeah,
Yeah, she had
yeah.
the same.
Dina was handling her, and she was
Yeah,
tearing up.
she was going around. We hit several shows, and we were just super excited at the response. Like at the time, obviously, she was only 9 months. I mean, it took her, I don't know, maybe a month or a little more or something to get, you know, to get her grand done. But she champed out super quick. And
Mhm.
now you've got a 9 month old dog in the grand champion class. You know, the possibility of that
All
turning
that
in.
conflict, right?
Yeah. Right. Because, you know, at the same time, a lot of judges are just like, you know, they're on the fence because it's
It's a
tough to put
puppy.
up a 9 month old dog in the grand champion class because you really don't know what that dog's going to, what it's going to finish like. You know, like you could say, yes, she's an excellent example of the breed right now, but she's only 9 months old. God knows what she's going to look like in 2 years.
But
So
she
I
went
get
up
that.
there and she still
Yeah.
did the job there too.
Well, the weird thing is now, I feel like if I took her in the ring now, if I'd have waited and I took her in the ring now, the response would be even better because nothing about her movement degraded. She moves just the same as she did when she was in the ring at 9 months old. The only difference is that she's probably one and a half what she was when she was 9 months old. Like she's just so crazy wide. She is as big as most micro males. Like she's just a monster. So I just tell those judges if they're listening, you didn't make a bad choice. You don't have to read nothing to regret. Like she is well example. She's a good example of the breed.
All right. So look, speaking on the height and things, a lot of people think 7 is a standard or say he's a standard. I don't know where that started or how that goes around. When I seen him in person, the first thing I said to Dina was, "He's not standard.
No.
He's how tall is this dog? He's not standard." Because the perception that was going around was 7's a standard. He's a standard, and I said I think it makes people feel better because this pocket is fucking huge.
Right.
So if you say he's a standard, that makes you go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
I think in a lot of ways. And I think people picked up on the fact that, you know, when a dog shows an ABKC show ring before they're a year old, what class are they in?
Standard.
Right. Every dog. I
That's
don't care.
XLs, that's pockets.
Yeah. Everyone gets
So,
shoved into the standard class.
right.
Well, he champed out before he was a year old. So he champed out technically as a standard.
Or technically as a puppy.
Yeah. So, but the weird thing is Precious, which we all know is a pocket, also champed as a standard. Like she is a
And
standard
grand champ
champion.
as a
Yeah, and
standard.
grand champ
Right. So
because she was only 10 months old. So I think some people kind of attached themselves to that. They said, oh, well, he champed out as a standard. He's a standard. Well, no,
so they ran with, so that's where that narrative came from.
I think so. And then I think it may be a protective kind of thing, you know, where it's easy to say, hey, we got to put him up here because that gets him away from us kind of thing.
Yeah. Pockets can't really compete with that. Listen, I'm sorry. Pockets can't really compete with that. The closest thing that he got is probably, hey, he needs to be over there with standards. They're big enough to probably carry the type of mass that he's carrying, but he's doing it as a pocket. So
Right.
put
You
him
know, at
over
the
there.
20K, we did a picture of him and his father and Zero. And Zero is a 17-inch dog. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's a true standard. And you can see in the photos, it's clear. 7 is substantially shorter than his father. You know, you can tell the height difference.
Yeah, and one thing I respect about you and Dina, man, y'all do a good job of avoiding drama.
Oh Lord, yeah.
You know, even when you're being mentioned, you guys very head down, focused on the mission with just things incoming left and right. And man, kudos to y'all for not like, man, y'all could really go out here on a tour of
Yeah.
revenge for everybody that had something to say to you, but you don't. And
Yeah.
then I seen your wife live the other night. She's so damn sweet. She wants to give people an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if you guys made that decision. You guys was talking about, just letting Seven enjoy, and just be a dog. It's time to settle down, and and I feel like step on people's neck. That's my approach. That's my approach. Step
Right.
on their neck until they earn it. And she's like, I had such a great feeling winning that other people should feel that too. And then I'm like, man, she's got me conflicted. I really want her to just go out here and step on people's necks until the dog can't step anymore.
Right.
And but she has a beautiful heart. And
Well, there's a couple factors behind that, and we look at we use Zero as an example. When Zero won nationals, right? Hannah and Jim were very gracious, and they pulled Zero out after that. So the next nationals come around, Zero isn't in it. Could he be in it? Yeah, he had every right to be in it, and more than likely would have won. You know, but they were very gracious about that because we got to witness one of the things with Zero that we didn't necessarily like.
man, he had a run that year.
He did. But what happened there people began to get a little bit of animosity about Zero showing up because they felt like, oh, if I get a show and Zero is there, I'm just competing for second place. And Jim and Hannah are very gracious, and they didn't want people to feel like that. You know what I mean? They wanted to give everyone an opportunity. Like, I don't know if I actually confirmed that from them, but that's the vibe I got from them.
Man, I want an opportunity to beat the top dog.
Yeah. And, Dina's the same way. Seven has nothing left to prove. If you go down a list of dogs that you think he should stack off with, he probably already has. You just weren't there, so you don't know. So he just doesn't have anything left to prove. He's done everything he needs to do. Right. And not only that, but you start to see situations that become unfavorable for your dog, right? Certain situations can be created to make unfavorable conditions.
What do you mean by that? I don't have a successful dog like this. So you're talking about something that the average person probably hasn't experienced, and you're kind of talking about it in a way that I would pick up on. But I don't have a dog. Right. So what are these unfavorable type things? Like, if it's
right. Well, it's the same. It's that same thing as like, as long as your head's down low, right, you continue to exist and no one has a problem with you, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're the nail that's sticking up, someone's gonna
a hammer
knock it down for you.
Find you.
Yeah. So that's just, and we don't particularly enjoy being the nail that's sticking up. I know that's what everybody seems to want. You know what I mean? To get out there and be like making a lot of noise and like stepping on people's necks, but it's just not something we particularly enjoy.
Can you avoid it though? Like you're producing these dogs that's pushing the breed forward. Like you're doing the right things, and people see that, hey, this is a nice dog. Actually, this is an amazing dog. Man, jealousy happens. Like, man, you're not causing the ruckus.
No.
So like, how do you, man, I don't know. How do you work around those unfavorable conditions when you didn't create them?
Right. No, I mean, it's just something you have to know, when things start, I don't know. We just kind of take it like when things start to feel a certain way, we're like, I don't know, it doesn't feel.
You get that feeling in
right.
the air.
You get that, what's really important in our community is you protect your narrative. You control your narrative, right? When you post on your Facebook page, you got to think about this. When you post on your Facebook page, you're in full control of the narrative. If someone comments something you don't like, you can delete it, right?
Yeah.
That if you make a post and then a bunch of people start sharing it and they start talking trash on it, what do you can do? You can delete the post, right? And now it doesn't exist. That's controlling your narrative. When you take that photo and you put it in a group, right? Now it's different. You still have some control over it because you can always go back and delete it. But the reality of it is you don't have control over the narrative now. You handed the narrative over to someone else. You let them take control. So anytime you're out, you're at the mercy of whoever the judge is. You're at the mercy of how many fans of a particular dog showed up. You're at the mercy of a lot of things. right? So it just is what it is.
What's the difference in I guess those unfavorable conditions in public versus how it is online?
Well, that when you start to promote a dog and he starts to get in the realm of some other dogs, right? There are tons and tons of fanboys for other dogs, right? And I'm sure you saw stuff going around about Seven, like he was viciously attacked for no apparent reason, you
Because
know.
he won.
Yeah, yeah, but just and it was ridiculous, and we did exactly what we decided we were going to do was when we started seeing what the subject of the attack on Seven was, we just posted our retort on our profile pages, right? It was just we posted a side stack of Seven out in the yard, and we posted a video of him running around in the yard, and we just said Grand Champion Seven, Mr. 20K, and that was it. We didn't post nothing else.
So that's how the name was born for Mr. 20K.
Yeah, and we didn't answer anybody. We didn't comment on no one's photos. You say whatever you want to say, because here's the reality of it is whether they're talking good or they're talking bad, they're coming to look. They're going to come to your profile, and then if someone posts a crappy picture of your dog, and they say this dog's a train wreck, right? They're going to come straight to your profile, and they want to see more of this train wreck. The problem is when they show up there, it ain't there.
Right.
It ain't there. You just
Yeah,
gained a fan. You just gained a fan.
I was so before the 20K happened, I was trying to, try to figure out like how can I see Seven in person. This was before the 20K and before people started trying to create this narrative about him, right? So it didn't exist. I was trying to see Seven. But so once they created this narrative, I was like, oh, I absolutely gotta see him.
Yeah.
I absolutely gotta see him. And just so happened, he came through Virginia. And I said, oh, babe, I ain't doing nothing today. I'm going to this show. I seen him. Instant lock. Instant lock in. Instant lock in. So, and then, a lot of that narrative stuff is coming from people who've never seen the dog in person.
Oh, 100%.
Never even touched him.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah,
don't know
it
how
actually
that
came
goes.
from two different directions because unlike a lot of people, some people will show and then some people do stack offs, but very rarely do you have a dog that cross over both. Right. So
Yeah.
we experienced that from both spectrums.
Yeah. He did both well too at the
Yeah.
highest level. Both.
Both spectrums, not only did well, he grand champed and then he got hated on for that. And then he won the stack offs and he got hated on for that, and then at the same time, you have to be humble about it. And you can't get angry. You can't get online and start, arguing and fighting with people. You just have to realistically take a look at it and say, people are going to come looking. They're going to come looking. And you need to give them the real representation, not what they saw. So that's all we did. We kept our mouth shut and we just kept the dog outside. We kept him outside. He kept going to shows.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Went to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So is there any advice you can give to any breeders that's coming up and they are wanting to pursue, I guess, having the stud? Any advice you can give to them that can help that journey?
I would say just be honest about what your dog is. Like 100%. There's going to be, here's the thing. I've seen stud owners in the past, they do everything they can to hide whatever it is that is the negative about their dog, right? They know if you breed to my dog, he's going to throw these good attributes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see these negative attributes, someone's going to tell you not to use him. Mm-hmm. So I'll hide the negative attributes. You'll use the dog. You'll get the puppies you wanted. You'll be like, damn, he delivered, right? And then you don't know nothing about those negative attributes because now we've got productions, right? You can look at the productions and you can see. So you don't even care anymore. You don't even need to see the dog anymore. You saw productions, right? But the problem is that at some point, someone's going to see that thing you're trying to hide. Mm. And then they are going to they're gonna. I mean, look what they did to Golden Child. You know what I mean? They try to tear that dog 1,000 different ways, and
A
it
thousand different
never
times.
slowed him down an ounce. Never. You know. So I would say just be forthcoming with what your dog is, and if he makes a run, if he does great, then you are 100% forthcoming. You got nothing to hide. You got nothing to try to, you know what I mean? You just go out there and show the dog for what he is.
All right.
I think
All right.
I think we have different generations of breeders now that can look
Uh-huh.
at a dog and say positive, 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 positive. Maybe here's a negative, right? So I'm just going to make sure my female can fix that, and then hoping he brings all that to the breeding.
Right. They're complementary breeding, and some people go, "Oh, this dog has one thing. Don't use it."
Yeah,
But what are you bringing to the table? And if your girl is good and you believe in her, let her do her job. The
that's
reason
right.
why you're even breeding her, she should be of that quality to be a compliment to that male. I won't get too deep into that. But if y'all got questions, y'all can send them now. I'll see if we can get Roger to answer
Joe
some of
Mills.
these as long as they're not too crazy.
But what would
What
you
do
say?
you say the most amazing factor of Future? Like, what draws your eye to him when you see him that makes you say, "Wow"?
Okay, so that's 100%. 100%. It's that headpiece. I was after that headpiece all day. Like that was. When I'm breeding a Smeagol, I wanted that headpiece. I love that. That is so important to me. Like I'm not sacrificing headpiece for nothing. I don't care. I'm not sacrificing it. And obviously, on the grim side of things, I've got it right. So I don't want to bring in another blood that's going to sacrifice headpiece. And that Smeagol Lester headpiece, like that's what I need. I need that. Um, Lean muscle is another thing I really like about him. So it's not he's a big dog, but he's still that cut. He's got that tuck. He's got rib cage. You can see some ribs there. You know what I mean? Like he's got that old school kind of muscled up cut dog look, and that's another thing I love. So those are two huge attributes about around him that I really like.
Another one for you. Do you think that putting him in a pocket class that it would be comparable in the show ring? Do you understand exactly what he's asking?
I don't know if he's talking about future or if he was talking about seven
Oh
because
yeah,
we
we
were
did.
having that
Yeah,
conversation about
yeah.
seven being a
We did
pocket.
go on. We did go.
I,
Putting
you know,
him in
the funny
pocket.
part, if he's talking about seven, then if we were to put seven in the show ring in the pocket class where he rightfully belongs, because you just measure him and that's where he belongs, he's going to stand out so hard against other pockets
Yeah.
because he's just on the border. He's on the border. So he's just so much more massive than most dogs in that class. So I think it's easy for a lot of people to look at him and say, yeah, he should be a standard just because he's so much more than what is typically represented in that class.
A lot more. I mean, even if he goes to the standard class, it's you got to pack your lunch. It's gonna be a long day.
It's like,
Anybody?
for instance, like that head size, right? 27-inch head. It
Yeah.
on his frame, it doesn't look excessive. It doesn't look like he has a big giant melon head, even though he does. He has a giant head, but it proportionally fits his body.
But once you see him and you see him in person, it proportionally fits. But damn,
Yeah,
that's a dome.
yeah,
That's a
exactly.
dome. You don't say, "Oh, his head's too big for his body." You go, "Damn."
That's right.
This is just a well put together dog. What is your big thing when you breed other than the headpiece? Are you looking to expressing your next studs or dams that you produce in the future?
So that's going to be down to the breeding individually. So basically, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a female. I'm going to look at all the positive attributes she has. I'll look at what negative attributes she has. And then on the other side of the kennel, you could say, because I keep my females over here and my males over here, I'm going to look on the other side of the kennel and I'm looking for a male that fits where she needs strength, right? So if she doesn't have a lot of leg bone, then I'm going to be bringing her a male with a lot of leg bone. but at the same time, I don't necessarily want him to detract too much from her positives. So if she has a good headpiece, I want to maintain that headpiece, but I
Hmm.
also want to bring that bone that she's lacking. I want a male that'll bring that attribute to her. So it's on a breeding per breeding basis. It's like I'm evaluating every single female, what they need, what I think potentially would benefit them, and then trying to match them up to a stud.
So you're playing a good little tightrope balancing act game to make sure you don't overdo or underdo either which direction you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess what all in all, you're not looking for any one particular feature. You're looking for a balance.
Yeah, it's
Create.
just creating a balance. Way,
Mhm.
the stud. If you use your stud, he's not going to 100% put on your female what he has.
Mhm.
You're just going to get a watered down version of him on her, especially if she's lacking in bone. He's probably you may get a unicorn that has his bone, but
Maybe
the reality of it is that you're just creating a slightly watered down version of him in her for a next generation. So
yeah.
obviously, if she needs bone, then I'm going to go over and look at my male with the absolute most bone, right, and bring that one to her to try to fix that problem.
Like so, I have a friend. He normally tells me if you did better than the mom, if every dog you had is better than the mom, you did good.
Yeah.
You did good. You can keep moving forward in your generations.
Hmm.
So this next thing, oh 07 was that question about
That's what I
hidden in the
figured.
pocket. Yeah, yeah. Roger knew exactly what you was talking about. I almost got lost. When picking a keeper, male or female, what are some things you look for? Oh man, y'all really getting into Roger Brain
Yeah,
tonight.
that's good.
Y'all
That's
not
good.
even talking about pedigrees or nothing. Y'all say Roger's on here. He got 7 Mac and he does all of these breeds. We gonna see what we can get from him. Are you okay with this,
Yeah,
Roger?
I'm cool. Let's do
All
it.
right.
Yeah, when I'm looking for a keeper, I'm strictly looking for the solution, right? So I identified a problem on one end or a problem on the other end, or I'm trying to bring positive attributes together. So I'm looking for that solution. I'm looking for that dog that represents the solution to the problem that I've created. So I have this female needs this, this male has it. When I bring them together, I'm looking for that pup that received what he needed to receive.
So in other words, you already basically you already figured out what you want from your breeding before you do it.
Yeah.
And
So
when
you're
these
kind of
pups come
drawing
in,
a mental picture. If you look at your
mhm.
female, look at your male, and kind of draw a mental picture of what you would expect those two dogs together to look like, right? And then in the puppies, you want to see what that you want to see, representation of that mental picture that you created. Like, I combine her and him, and I want it to have this bone, but her head, and maybe her toes. I'm real big. I hate long toes. Like you get them terrier toes. I don't like it. So, I want the shorter, like stubbier toe. So that's a big thing for me. So, if I have a female that has longer toes, I'm going to breed away from that. So yeah, and I will keep the puppies as long as I deem necessary until I identify which one it is.
See, that's the thing. A lot of people are not breeding for themselves. So, keeping a dog past 8 weeks sometimes isn't people goal. And they may sell what's the thing, the
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah, you may you may end up selling the best dog. Absolutely.
This is a shout out more than a question. This is from Justo Nunu. I got a 7-month-old female in hiding off the future and the Ultros daughter, short, compact, muscle up. Basically, that's shout out, big props to
Appreciate you.
you,
Appreciate you.
Justo. Muscled up, man. Sounds like you are in love with what you have. So, congrats. Bring that girl out of hiding pretty soon. I mean, it's your dog, but I would like to see it
Yeah.
since you brought it up.
Yeah. The bad thing is after a pup gets so old, you'll do a breeding, they'll send you puppy pictures, right? But after they get so old, they're busy with their own life. They kind of stop sending you pictures. So you don't really get that many adult photos. People are always like, "You got 7 productions, you got Ultras productions," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, I got puppy pictures." That people just don't, unless
They just
down the
lose
road
track.
they tag me in it. I don't get to see those adult photos. So every once in a while, I'll see one, and I'm like, "Oh man," I immediately save it.
All right. So, next question coming from Brandon. Did you come into the game with a mentor or a friend that was already in the game?
Initially, I didn't. Initially, my wife, my wife has dog problems. All right, let's just be honest. She has dog problems. She loves dogs. She just wants dogs. Wants dogs. We were in Amish country. We were in like this cabin in Amish
Yeah,
country.
the
Yeah,
PA part.
no, Ohio, Sugar,
Ohio has Amish country.
yeah, Sugar Grove.
Is that near the border of Pennsylvania?
No,
I thought
no.
all things Amish. All right, back to your story. I'm sorry.
But we're in Amish country, and we went into like one of these Amish pet stores, and there was an English bulldog in there. And English bulldogs, they're cute as shit when they're puppies.
Yes,
And I
man.
really felt like she said I was wrong, but I've been married almost 30 years. I'm pretty sure I knew that look in her eye. I thought, man, she's going back tomorrow and she's gonna get that dog. So I volunteered, hey, if we're gonna get another dog, why don't we just get an American Bully? She'd been looking at American Bullies. She really wanted one. So, the Google machine came out. We started searching. Um, so it wasn't until our second American Bully that we purchased that we met Sam Leem. And that was immediately we hit it off. Like, you know, we were eager. We were very like questioning. We were asking a ton of questions. We really wanted to be involved. Um, we got to meet the first time we met Sam, we met Hannah, we met Jim. They all met us at the park, brought our puppy to us, and it was just we all, just kind of kicked it off from there. And, Sam blessed us with, Cone and some dogs with us. And because of that, it kind of brought us into the network. And, he really kind of put us on the path we were on. Like, I can't say I would have figured all this out on my own, to be honest with you. Like, having your mentor available to you to reach out to and say, hey, what the hell do I do now? Is it's a huge shortcut. Huge.
Brandon, hope that answers your question, bro. Do you see yourself ever trying to get the standard size 7?
Yeah, actually, I would like to eventually see an XL size 7.
Now talk about an unpopular variety, class, man. Like
Yeah,
you heard this conversation, a lot of people are saying that's going away or they want it to go away. And that's they speak about XLs almost the way they do about classics, and how it's so much you know, lack the lack
right.
of type in those classes. So you see yourself wanting the XL7? Do you think he could help that lack that's there?
I believe so. Now, I own an XL to achieve that, and I don't know that would be the case.
So
Because
that they put that in the new pup back
right,
you.
if people come to me, which I have, trust me, we have a few XLs locked in already.
Mm,
So they're just waiting for their breeding to go down. So I think that part of the community identified this benefit, right? They look at, okay, father is 0 barks given. This is a standard. He's half standard blood. He's also half like crazy wide pocket blood, but he represents a bigger, taller version of what they're used to seeing in the pocket class.
mhm.
Um, so immediately as he started to grow, I started to identify this myself. So I wasn't particularly surprised when, XL breeders started reaching out and locking him in. It's going to hurt their height, absolutely, for at least one generation. But I think if they get what they need from it, if it pushes that dog below the XL level, even temporarily, as long as they can maintain it, they can bring that height back up.
All right.
They just have to maintain that mass and bone that they gain. But I think he has the potential to turn that particular class of dog around.
I agree. They get talked about bad.
Yeah. And I like the breed. I like that.
They know it. They
Like,
know it though. Well, the ones that do know it, those are the ones
right.
that's gonna like go and try to get it right.
Yeah.
Uh, Sorry, this one. For new breeders, what time span would you suggest to keep puppies no matter what the dog's blood is?
So there's been breedings where it was pretty damn obvious, right? You're just like, that's the one,
Okay.
no question. Like you knew right off the bat when we did Nomi Malone's breeding to Pilo, I had 3 lilac tri males. As they grew, the one just be, I mean, at 8 weeks, it was clear he was the one. It was clear to me, but it wasn't clear to my wife. So they stayed substantially longer. I can't remember when we co-owned him with QK Watkins down in he's in Mississippi now.
Post Malone.
Yeah, Post Malone. So we co-owned him. Wow, at that point I was already convinced, but it took that long. It took a few more months for Dina to be convinced, and then so we sold his brother to a pet home, and then we put Post Malone in with down there with QK. The funny thing is now they're all adults, and I see, we're friends with the people that we pet homed him to. They have other dogs. They bought other dogs from us, and the brother is just insane as Post Malone is. I think if I'd have went either way, it'd probably been fine. But there were particular attributes of Post Malone I liked better. So no, as far as how long, it's just as long as it takes until you know.
Yeah, I would say this too. If you're just getting in, it helps when you have more litters under your belt. I know you probably don't want to hear that answer, but the more litters you have, you'll be able to identify something when you like, whoa, that's fucking freaky.
Yeah.
That's new. Man, I remember when I had X Dog at this age, and it was probably this much of a handful, and now this one is it's gonna come with the experience too. Like for now, it's probably gonna take you longer. Have
Yeah.
a few more litters, you'll be able to identify it quicker.
And the other
Be
thing is the
patient.
great thing about is that our community isn't very okay online. How many times have you seen a dog and you're like, that dog is not it, right? But in the comments, they're like fire emoji, and I'm like, why are y'all doing this to these people? Like it's so unreal. Like why, right? I promise you, if you go to a stack off or you go to a show, there ain't gonna be no fire emojis. If you put that dog in a ring, if it is the shit, it will win, right? That's just it. Just bottom line. End of the day, stack off. If your dog is the dog, then when you go to a stack off, he's going to do his shit. So that's a good primer. If you don't have anybody else to like reality check you, take it to a show and put it out there.
Here you go, Roger. We touched on this earlier,
Uh-oh.
but this is a loyal person of my show. He's on my podcast every single week. If it doesn't bother you too much, if you want to touch this again, please.
No, that's prime. I do it every day, actually, believe it or not. Yeah, 7 is a pocket. He is a pocket. By ABKC standards, we're going to take the ABKC standard, measure the dog at the withers. 7 is a pocket.
Boom. That's simple. It was so look, man, when this is over, you can go back and watch it. And he goes into how that 7 standard thing became some urban legend and it just it took off on its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7's a pocket. I've seen him in person. He's a pocket. Trust me, he's a pocket. He's on the taller side of a pocket, but he's damn surely a pocket. All right. What head shape do you look for in a puppy?
Well, that's one of those things you're going to have some faith in, right? Because those cheeks don't come in immediately.
That's man. And then sometimes that muzzle those cheeks make that muzzle shrink. You know what I mean?
Yep,
You
yep.
think you have a long muzzle because the cheeks isn't there, and then the cheeks come, and then you be like, "Where'd the muzzle go?" It has arrived.
Well,
So,
and that's reality. If you look on my profile, go back and look at photos of Machiavelli when he was like 4 or 5 months old. Because I mean, I posted every moment of that dog's journey. And when he was young, I mean, he had a beak on him. And it worried me, to be honest. But when you look at the pedigree tells me it ain't gonna be that. It's not gonna be that. Coco's not going to throw that. You know what I mean?
And then what
Luca Brasi's not going to throw
if
that.
you know what Luca is, you know what Luca is.
Yeah.
Man, we should do Machiavelli pedigree one day because that fucker is crazy.
Yeah, we can definitely do it.
I
So
mean,
when I
it's
looked at his pedigree,
nuts.
I'm like, it can't be. He's not going to have this big ass muzzle, you know. But you look at Coco, you look at Luca Brasi, right? They all have these very defined cheeks, and Mac, very young, did not. So that's a faith thing. Like you just have to have faith in the blood. You have to look at your bloodline, look behind you, and say, okay, he's going to be all right. So then the exact same thing. You try to find pictures of Luca Brasi. Luca Brasi is pretty well known. Like his photo has been out there.
Oh yeah, what man?
So
Luca Brasi
there
went on
are
the tour with Golden Child, man. They
yeah,
made some
there
noise.
are photos of Luca Brasi when he was younger, right? So you can compare your puppy to your sire as he was a puppy. So you have a Machiavelli puppy that looks like he's got a big old muzzle on him. You can go back and look at Machiavelli and have faith that it's coming.
Next question. Do you see yourself bringing in any new blood or continue working with the same blood you have until you find that dream dog?
So I keep in my yard. So I keep some. We keep Muscle Tone, Grim. We do have some rock stuff off Rocco. We have some Louis V. Louis V. You gotta be careful with because those traits are strong. Those traits are strong. You breed that, it's taken back over. You know, Luca.
The muzzle trait? Is it the muzzle trait?
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm real picky on that. Now I have my girl that is Louis V. She has a big. I mean, for a female, she got a big head. Like this is a big ass head for a Louis V dog. Right, and it's not even that her muzzle is that long, but it's a little bit narrow, right? And I like these big square boom muzzles. You know what I mean? So when I'm breeding, for her, we're going to be taking her to midget in the dog suit. We're going to be taking her to 7 also, to try to pass on some of those traits from 7.
What's up, Rob, man? How you doing, bro? Hey, listen, look, I've had Roger for an hour and a half. I don't know if he wants to field any more questions or not. Y'all asked a lot of them.
I'm good. I'm usually good for 2 hours at least.
Hey man, if y'all got it says, what's this say? Higher. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, higher. If y'all got any more questions for Roger, man, he says he'll field some more. But I mean, if y'all gonna make this man stick around, make these questions hard.
Yeah.
Like challenge him with something that he's probably never heard before.
Yeah. But another thing to that head shape thing is I just look at my current set of dogs. Like focus on Mac, Ultra 7, and Future. Right? That's my head shape right there.
Oh, man, I don't think you could hire a mentor. I think it's kind of a natural thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to hire him, then you would be looking for, what do you call that? Somebody that comes in and give you the guidance. And I can't think of the name of it right now, but yeah, a mentor's gotta be natural.
Not only that, but let me tell you, it takes time for your brain to get wrapped around what somebody that's been in it for a while has got to tell you. I was lucky when, Sam was mentoring us. He kind of let us trip over our own feet to generate the question before giving us the information. Like lots of times you're not ready. Like I said in the podcast last week, if he would have handed me Machiavelli and then said, this is all the shit you're going to have to do, I'd have been like, take this puppy back. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? But somehow you justify it. Somehow you buy a little puppy and you're like, oh, he's so cute. Right. And in a couple of years, you're jerking a dog off in a bag and spinning it down in a centrifuge and shipping it out. And it's all completely normal to you all of a sudden.
Ah, yeah, man.
You know what I mean? But back then, I'd have been like, what? Nah, I don't know about that. So, yeah, I mean, it just takes time to learn. Um, when you
Well,
buy
I guess
when you buy a
I
dog,
guess you're saying more like a coach and not a mentor. I guess
yeah,
like your time, you
Yeah.
know, for your time.
yeah,
What?
no, I just don't have time for that. And I think that's what a lot of people, when after you get to a certain level, you're just so busy. Like I've got people I co-own with, and I help them out as much as I can. I'm always there for them and messages and stuff like that. And I mean, people throw questions at me all the time. There's probably people in the chat here that have talked to me before. I'm not going to ignore your message. If you message me and you have a question, I'm going to help you out. I'm not going to ignore you.
So that way, this is even better than Roger being your mentor. You can get these answers from him without any attachments.
I'll just
His-
send you a bill every once in a while.
yeah. What is the most slept on dog you own?
Man,
All right, see, that's a good question. Put him in the hot seat.
that is a good question. Smith slept on. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
slept on.
That's the word. I was looking for a consultant. Yeah, you're going to hire a consultant.
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Brian.
Thank you. I wouldn't say slept on, but I would say drastically under promoted, which was kind of on purpose. And I would say that would be Ultros. Yeah.
I seen him at the show as well.
Yeah.
And
I purchased him.
He's a big dog for that blood.
We bought him for a tool for us at the same, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was interested in Veneno blood, and I wanted it heavy, but I just could not find it with the right height. And if you are looking for that blood and you are not trying to micro size it,
yeah. Now he's a solid pocket. Like he's nowhere near micro world.
Do you get to keep up with any of Seven's litter mates?
I do. And as a matter of fact, one of the most recent is 007. I posted him a couple times. He's kind of doing really well in the show ring, and every time I post him, he makes a bunch of noise. People mess.
That's the Seventh son though, right?
Yeah, the chocolate one. Yeah.
No, they want to know
talking about litter mates. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mates.
Mesmerized me for one. You're keeping up,
Well, that's zeros.
No, that's zero actually.
Yeah. So Seven's litter mates, I have not. I didn't produce Seven. Seven was a co-production with Sam and he's going to kill me. I forgot his name. Same guy that owns Luca Brasi.
Bernard Tony.
Bernard Tony. Sorry, Bernard. So Bernard Tony actually produced Seven. Like it was his litter because he owned Remy the Hemi. So it was a co-production between Sam and Bernard. And I don't, for whatever reason, I don't know. I just promote my dogs. I just put Seven, Machiavelli. I don't put all the title shit all over my dogs constantly. I find it to be a big pain in the ass. But if people want to look at the pedigree, it's right there. Like we're not hiding nothing. So you see where
it comes from.
RTB on his name, which is Rocktown Bullies. So yeah, that was 100% purchased dog on my end. So I didn't get to keep track of the litter mates. I don't know who they are. I don't know how they turned out.
What are you looking for in a female for the pup back? You got to put that picture up. You got to put that pedigree up.
Yeah.
They both better be fire.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. So, okay. So let's take a male that isn't established. So we'll take, so Ice Age and Post Malone. These are young dogs, right? So pup backs, I'm just looking for females that complement them. I'm going to be more flexible than I would be with my more established males. With more established males, you got Seven, you got Machiavelli, you got Ultros. These are going to have to be bad bitches. They're going to have to be bad bitches for sure.
What are your terms on a pup back, Roger?
It can be flexible. Typically, it's 50% of the stud fee, and then second pick overall. Now, of course, the badder the bitch, the more flexible I can be, obviously.
Hey, look. So Roger said he don't care about all the pedigree. It's not all about the pedigree. It's not all about the female. It's gonna be a combination of both. I'm guessing, but this is tough. So I'm gonna say it, man. If you go to the dog, the pedigree better make sense.
Yeah.
That's how I feel on Ped Talk. Like if that thing is scattered, man, you better have a fucking female that look like she's supposed to be a grand champion.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the pedigree and you'll be able to see, is this a unicorn of a female or is this a line bred generational bad bitch?
And does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yo, if I do this, will it benefit Roger's program as well?
Right. That's the
you
thing.
Don't feel
It's got
like
to benefit me.
Roger, man, don't just pay the money. Because
so outcrosses for sure, right? Because I need that fresh DNA. I need that mix up with the blood. So
and help somebody with what they need to look for when buying a foundation female. I got let me say this. I'll let Roger answer. But if you're new, this is what I always say. If I knew then what I know now, and I come into this game with the knowledge, I would not be looking to buy a foundation female. If I had a good amount of money that I can afford a foundation female, I would find someone with a badass foundation female, and I would try to pay for their breeding.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to get an entire litter because you're really not at the stage that you know how to handle an entire litter. So put that money on a nice breeding that's going to get you on your way and take something from that breeding. Don't be greedy. If you can walk out of there with a second pick female from a breeding that you have options, then I think that's the best route to go with the way the game has changed.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're looking to purchase your first dog, I think the one thing you're going to need to realize is you're going to make a mistake. I don't know many people that purchased their first dog and got the shit. You know what I mean? Everybody I've ever talked to, and I've interviewed a lot of people.
Was your first dog a classic, Roger?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And were you going for something better than a classic?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So no, I don't feel bad. You can do 6 months worth of homework. You can find a breeding that's to the stud that everyone wants and to a female that you think you like. And what's in the back of the pedigree is coming back. And
why does that happen to people on their first time? Like, why does that always happen?
I don't know. So mine was Kimber. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Kimber.
Oh, she was nice.
To call her a classic is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I take her out and I say, this is my classic female, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that's a standard female. And I'm like,
classic for your yard.
It's a classic for my yard. But I get what you're saying, you know. So this is a girl with exaggerated shoulders, you know, exaggerated hips, big head. Like this is she is a dog of 5 years ago that people would have shit their pants when they saw. You know what I mean? She is just that. She's that female. She is Louis V's Venom to a Lucky Luciano daughter.
Mm-hmm.
They're both tiny. Venom's small, right? The Lucky Luciano daughter's small.
And they're both on that cleaner side of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's right. And I said, I'm going to Florida and I'm going to get me a badass pocket. And what I end up with is a badass standard. That bloodline, because, you know, Lucky's tall. You know, this is a big line. And even on the Louis V side, you know, they're taller dogs. But so the pedigree came back out. I didn't know pedigrees. I didn't realize what I was going to get. But at the end of the day, when she grew up, even though she wasn't exactly what I was looking for, she was amazing. I mean, this is grand champion Kimber. She did her thing. You know what I mean? I showed her. Judges love her everywhere she went.
Right? Yeah, you still won though. You got a grand champion.
Yeah, I'll give it that. It wasn't what I wanted, but you know, in most cases, people don't get that lucky.
No,
they just don't get what they want, and they can't use it either.
Right.
I got lucky because, you know, the first person I ran into was Matt and Nate, and from Venom Line, and these guys are
yeah, good people. NMG. Yeah.
Very honest. So when
I haven't met Matt, but I have met Nate, and he's good people.
And when we talk to him on the phone, and I say, "Hey, this is what I want," right later on, I'm telling Matt, "Yeah, we want to show dogs. We're going to start breeding." And to me, at the moment, it all sounded like I was telling him something, and we were going to, get something going. And then after we bought the dog, and after I started breeding myself, I realized I was probably like the fourth person that told him that shit that week. Like everybody's going to be a breeder. Everyone's going to take a dog to the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was serious when I said, I take this puppy from you. I'm going to put her in a show ring and I'm going to take her to the top, you know? And I did exactly what I said I was going to do, and I made her grand champion out of her. And I was probably one of the first people to start to cheat the system, which was take a dog and put it in the classic class, even though technically it may not be one. We're starting to see that a lot.
Oh man, what? That's what they tell you, man. Go over there. They don't stand a chance.
Uh-huh. Yeah. If a dog is like borderline classic or borderline standard, just take it over to the classic class. Say, no, this is the classic. It will kill over there. Right. So you get a bunch of breed type now in the classic class.
Yeah.
And they were talking in maybe early COVID. Yeah, that we started doing that. What it was is a judge actually moved us to the classic class in one show. And we just said, we're going to embrace it. When we took her in there, man, she was a monster compared to all the other dogs in the classic class. So she did really well. There's Hans Berquist.
Judge should have sent you back.
So no,
he says it is if the judge accepts it.
Yeah, they could kick you out of the classic class.
Yeah,
dude, I've seen some dogs with like super short muzzles in the classic class, big ass heads. I'm like, what is that dog doing in there?
Cheap. So the best way to get rid of those narrow fronts, how many generations does it take to start getting the spread on a new generation? This one is gonna probably be more for Roger. I am only on my third generation, so I can't really speak to this.
How narrow is she? That'd be the question. Like, what's in her pedigree? Yeah, if she's got some wide dogs behind, it may only take one. The next generation may pop out and give you what you're looking for.
Man, we're gonna speed run this thing, Roger. I am getting behind on these comments, so
we'll roll fast.
Yeah, these are for you and only you, and I'm not gonna speak on anything. Let's hide. Wait a minute. Why can't I open any questions? Oh, that sucks.
What happened? You lost your question?
Yeah, what?
I can see them. You just tell me which one we want to do.
I can't click on anything.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'm going to zoom in on these and I'm going to read these. What's the best way you feel as in this day and age is the best promo?
I'm not really king of the promo. You might want to talk to, I don't know, talk to somebody else, not me. Ashton Edwards, maybe. He's Mr. P. He can promote the shit out of a dog. I'll tell you that. That or Jeremiah. Whew, I'll tell you, these guys can push the dog.
Jeremiah, for sure.
I'm just, I just breed. That's my job. Like, when my dogs gain popularity, it's just because I brought them out and people saw them.
So what's your definition of a bad bitch that you would say, I can't accept any money. Just give me the pup back and run it.
Well, I mean, she doesn't have to be like my studs, necessarily. But there's a minimum standard. I don't want to narrow dogs. I don't want dogs with no bone. I need something. If I'm gonna forego what is my percentage or all of my stud credit, it's just got to pay. It's got to pay me in puppy. You know what I mean? It's got to be something worth having.
And you got to carry its weight in gold. No one would sell the first pick, male or female. Will you add Hot Boy to your program? I'll ship the semen to your doors.
No, there. Talk to that guy about promo right there.
Damian Calhoun said that. Kendall, if I send you photos and videos of my female to both of you, will you judge her to me in your opinion? I'm not the person for that. I'm not a judge.
I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, and I'm not even a judge. But what you can do,
judge.
What you can do is you can send Roger your photo and your pedigree for a chance at a pup back. And that's still not judging your dog either.
No.
Yeah. Find a judge. A lot of these people are friendly, man. Like
ABKC judges, yeah,
they're
actually,
friendly.
short list. You know, there's a
Tony
couple.
Gold. Tony Gold will do it. I know Alex Ferraro will do it. Nico, Cristino, I've talked to him before. I mean, a lot of these judges are nice. And another way, if you really want to get a good feel on it, try to build a relationship with a handler. And if you get an honest handler, they'll tell you if your dog's worth handling or not. An honest one will say, "Hey, I'm not going to take your money because your dog doesn't stand a chance."
Right.
But not me. I'm not the person for it.
I will tell you, there's just no shortcut to the game. You got to pay your dues. You got to produce a dog. You got to bring it out. You got to put it in front of people. You got to get no response and realize that the dog is not it. And you got to go back to the lab and you got to do it again.
If here's I almost lost that question. What's a flaw you just cannot accept? Not for your program, no way, Jose.
Lack of phenotype. I could fix everything else. I mean, fix everything else easily, but I'm not giving that up.
A lack of type. A lack of type, man. A lack of type. I'm gonna have to agree with that, man. That's you don't have an American beauty at that point.
The head defines our breed, and the breed type defines our breed.
How'd you do that, Roger?
Huh?
How'd you do that?
I'm on a Mac.
Me too. How'd you do that?
Just thumbs up.
Can I get the bubble? What the? Okay.
Then, what is it? I think it's like this.
What? Do I need to update or something?
What you're on a Mac?
Yeah.
What can't you using like your Mac's built-in camera?
No.
What are you using?
Logitech.
Okay. It may not function through that camera, would be my guess.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, y'all.
The gadgets.
Hey, what's the word? And this is what's the play you can. Hey, look, it can happen with the next breeding. Hans is talking about fixing your narrow chest. He's saying it can happen in the next breeding. Hey, let me tell you a quick story about Hans. Hans probably don't remember me, but when I got into this dog community, he's the first person that I met at a dog show. He doesn't even know this.
That's a good first person to meet.
Man, this is years ago. I have my dog, my first dog that I got, the one that was trash, right? I don't know he's trash yet. He's the best thing that's about to be in the show the next day that I just don't know. I run into Hans, and he has this dog at the time. I will never forget. Yes, Hans in Virginia. Oh, you do remember me. Okay, that's good, man. I run into him. He has this dog. I won't forget. This dog name is Bruno. I don't even know if Hans still has this dog. This dog name is Bruno, right? Bruno. Man, I see this fucking dog. I'm like, what the fuck? That's nothing like my dog. So I stop him immediately. I'm like, what's your dog about? What's this blood and this and that? And he was nice enough to tell me, and I told him, oh, no, not Bruno, Brody. Okay, sorry, yeah, Brody, right? I was on to something. This has been some years ago. But anyways, Han was very nice. He did not talk crap about my dog, and he let me go in the show the next day and embarrass myself. Thank you for that, Hans, man. Thank you for that. I think our hotel room might have been beside each other. Hans let me go out there the next day and get embarrassed, man. I appreciate that.
Hans, was that the same show we met? That's why I'm curious.
This was one of
Rollando's
show. Yeah, one of his 2-day shows in Virginia.
It very well could be the exact same show that I met. It was.
I got these dogs in 2020, and then that was my first show I went to. It was like 21.
Yeah. Someone told me when we got there, they were like, go find Hans Berquist and introduce yourself. And I said, all right. I don't normally do that.
Yeah.
I normally go introduce myself to people.
Hans was nice. He probably couldn't tell me, man. Don't put that
I mean, he's kind of scary from a distance. Like, you don't know him. You're walking up on him.
Yeah. I was like, is my dog going to look like his dog when it's older? But the crazy thing is, everybody had amazing dogs. I was like, how old are your dog? Everybody was like, same age as my dog. Like, 7, 8 months. I'm like, what? Anyways, moving forward. Yeah, oh man, they said I need it. Roger, let me send her to you and you tell on this live, yes or no. I accept criticism, brother. No, we're not gonna do that. Roger does not want to be in that position because it's just not a good place. It's
No.
not a good place to be. You're asking too much of him.
And then, I mean, honestly, I'm not an expert. She could turn out, and then I'm an asshole.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just like it is what it is. You learn. Trust me. You'll fall on your face a couple times. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it looks like these questions are stalled out. So we're gonna wrap this thing up at 10. He said he was good for 2 hours. So we're gonna hold him hostage for the next 7 minutes, man.
There you go.
I can
Yeah, I
tell you
feel
all
like
the
we
advice
talked
in the
less
world, but
about.
sometimes you got to learn from experience. I did. I went out there. I learned from experience. The person that handled my dog the first show, and she was like, "Your dog isn't gonna win any of these. So for the next 3 shows, why don't you come in the ring with me, and I can teach you how to handle your dog. That way, you're not wasting your money."
Who handled your dog?
Mm, Morgan.
Hmm.
Moving on.
Yeah. But the reason I mentioned that is because we use Hannah a lot. And I use Hannah as a primer also. Hannah and Jim. I'll bring a dog to them, put her in front of them, and say, "What do you think?" You know what I mean? And because you can go to a handler and say, "Put this dog in standard class," and they'll do exactly what you say,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you can go to them humbly and say, "This is my dog. What do you think?" They'll either A, tell you it's not even worth your time, or B, they will tell you exactly what class to put it in and what your odds are, right? That's their job. Their job, if you look at a handler like Hannah, she has an outstanding reputation. She handles winners. People think, to the point that people think it's favoritism. They think,
They
oh,
do.
well, they just pick Hannah because
They
it's.
be like, "Oh, Hannah had the dog.
I'm
That's
like,
why."
no, Hannah picks dogs to handle that have potential to win. That's her job. Her job is to create a successful dog. And that's what she does. She doesn't take every dog, she doesn't take everybody's money, right? She picks dogs that she believes can excel. And that's why every time she's in the ring, she has a dog that's winning.
Yeah, she's picky with her client choice.
Yes, absolutely. And that is, there's a couple of handlers I know of, and that's exactly what they do. They're going
Hmm.
to pick that dog. They're not going to take you. If they don't think your dog's going to win, they don't want to show it.
Han says the dog on her lead represents her resume.
That's right. The same as
Question
them
for you,
three
Roger.
letters. Same as them 3 letters in front of that pedigree. You put a dog out and you put your stamp on the front of it, and then it's jacked. Guess what? People are going to share that dog on Facebook. Like, this is my dog. You know what I mean? And RBC so and so on the front, and that shit's all effed up.
Yeah, it is Jack.
Don't sell dogs to people that you don't want being on the internet.
Do you believe champion titles matter in this day and age?
I do. I do. I do because, well, number one, um, it's pretty obvious that I'm a breeder of type. I put type above all. Headpiece, type, that all comes first.
I think that's the right way to do it, though.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And when I take a dog into a show ring and they award my dog, that tells you that the judges in the ring confirm that I'm on the right track, that
Right.
I'm doing the right thing. Not saying my dogs are perfect. And when a judge comes to me afterwards and says, "Hey, your dog won, but this is what you need to fix about your dog," and I would tell them, "You ain't telling me shit I don't already know." Because more than likely someone had to convince me to bring this dog here in the first place. My
Mhm.
my idea is the perfect dog, and I haven't created that yet.
Mm.
But the reality of it is that I'm more critical than most people are. And that's why I love about Hannah and Jim. They will fact check me every time. I'll bring a dog and be like, "Man, I will be tearing this dog apart because of this, or that." And they're just like, "No, this dog will do well. Like, put this dog in a ring." All right, do what you do. They see Jim has an amazing eye for dogs. I don't know if it's because he shoots so many pictures of dogs or what, but he has an amazing eye for a dog.
If you don't know Jim, he's talking about Toy Soldiers photography.
Yeah, James Abba. Amazing eye. That guy, if you can get him to sit down and have a conversation with you, you're gonna if your brain can absorb it all, you're gonna learn some shit. I'll tell you that.
All right. Now, I don't know if I am too jammed up, but I don't see any more questions coming in. The
Yeah,
last thing
I
I
think
can
we're
see
good.
down there is the dog on her lead represents her resume.
Yeah. Now we got the title matters. Yeah. Oh, yep. That was it. That's the last one I got.
All right.
You're good.
We're gonna wrap this thing up. Roger, if you can let them know where they can find you at. I'm talking about the podcast, man. I'm talking about the website. I'm where they can find you at
Here.
everywhere.
All right. So first podcast, the Go Rogue podcast on Facebook, on YouTube, on all of the podcast platforms, literally every one of them. You can find us there. For the dogs, it's Rogue, ROGUE, because I don't know how to spell it either. RogueBullyCamp.com is our website. And then all our socials are exactly the same: Rogue Bully Camp, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me personal, Roger Stout on Facebook, my wife, Dina Stout on Facebook. We're both open to having a conversation. If you're looking at one of our studs, you have a question, you reach out to us. We'll have a conversation. We're not like, I hate when people won't talk to you. So we're definitely down to help you out.
So yeah, I really don't even have to pay him to be a consultant. Just reach out and man, y'all send those pupbacks. I want to see how this goes. Send those pedigrees and those pictures. Roger, I'm gonna be tapping in, which I'm gonna be like, yo, how's this pupback experiment thing going? Because I'm interested in it. And man, I appreciate you for coming on here today, taking your time, man. Thank you so much, man, for putting aside whatever you had going on today to do this.
Let's just put it out there. You wanted to do Machiavelli.
Yes.
Find a spot on your calendar. We'll come back. We'll do Machiavelli.
Yeah, I do want to do Machiavelli. I'm kind of scared to do it. Because once y'all see Machiavelli, if y'all haven't looked into Machiavelli, maybe if y'all can't tell, I like pedigrees a lot. But I also care about phenotype. But if y'all haven't looked into Machiavelli, man, y'all are not doing yourselves any favor. He is bred to produce, man, and to produce well. And like I said, I did 2 breedings to Machiavelli like back to back recently. Yeah. Like 1 litter dropped. I said, oh shit, I'm doing that again. So yeah, man, I really don't like to tell people a lot of stuff, man. But Machiavelli is like that. So y'all go check that dog out, unfortunately.
He said thanks for the longest episode of Ped Talk ever.
Yeah, y'all go check that dog out, man. We are gonna sign off.
Yeah, we really didn't even get into the Ped that much. We should have been on the Ped.
Man, hey, yeah, I wanted to go deep back into the Ped, but I don't have Bullypedia, and it was chopping me up. Nikki says, thank you. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Nikki. Damien says, thanks, Roger. This is oh, wow. Yeah, you already saw that. Yeah. Stouts are top tier human beings. Yes, I agree.
Man, it's like another hour.
Guys from Joe Mills, man. Everybody is saying thank you. And we definitely appreciate y'all for being here for the entire 2 hours. Even if you came and went, man, it's all appreciated. Yeah. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but thank you. I don't even know if I could sign off without clicking this button. I can't even do anything. Let's experiment. He said he can watch another 2 hours, he swear. So we're going to do another one. We're going to do Machiavelli. I'm going to talk with Roger offline. We're going to line up Machiavelli. Man, we're going to try to see if we can line up like 2 dogs on the same show or something.
Hey, you want to do 2? We'll do 2. Pick another one.
Are you going to talk about the Ped? Oh, man, you're late. You are late. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 hours, I hope. I hope, man. Now, we got into
Muscle. We need to mention
Eagle. We talked a lot about Lester. We went back on Bach Wahlberg and his history of that grand champion lineage and some national winners. But that grand champion lineage is continuing. We talked about Cocaine Cowgirl, where she comes from, what she's been producing, what she's bred to. Man, we touched on that pedigree.
We did.
I'm
Now,
sorry
I will
if you
say,
missed it.
let me say this. So with this the whole arrangement's going to switch next week.
Tell me how you want to do it next week.
Yeah. Well, I know what I'm saying is you're going to be on my podcast.
Oh, yes. Yes. I'm going on Go Road Podcast next week.
Yes. So he's going to be on my podcast, which will be another 2 hours. I promise you that.
And I don't even know what he want to talk about.
We're going to talk about whatever. We're going to find out.
It's going to be curveballs, man. I'm going to hit them out the park. So if y'all are here every week, I got a few people that's been rocking since the beginning. Y'all come over there on Go Road, man. Go Road Podcast. Follow Roger, follow Go Road Podcast. But you got to hit the bell because it's not going to be on my page. So you won't see it go live if y'all don't go over there and hit that bell notification.
Brian wants to know what beard products I use. I use facial oil, so I just do this. Just pull it down. That's it.
What about me, Brian? What about me? Jesus. All right.
I'm going to give him hell. He's going to give him up. He's going to give up them secrets he's been holding. We're going to find out what he's doing.
Who? Brian? Brian's going to give up his secrets?
No, you. Next week. You're going to be telling us what you're doing. You say you don't like telling people. We're going to find out.
Man, I said too much already, man. I said too much already. Like, I just told people I'm breeding to Mac back to back. Stud so nice. I had to do it twice. Like, if I ain't never bred to a stud twice before. So
is what it imagine how much more you could actually give up. Like, this is just the beginning. you get over there where we're gonna take that different approach. You'll be nice and relaxed. You'll just start telling us all kind of shit.
Man, I'll try not to say too much. I'll try to keep it interested too, man. Yeah. He's definitely worth double dipping. He is. I'll save it. Let me try to sign off. If I can't sign off, I'm gonna push this button on the end of my computer. Y'all take care. Enjoy y'all weekends. Drive safe. Be blessed, everyone. Take care.
See you guys. Appreciate you.
Yep, and I can't even turn this off. Why is my button broke? Well, I gotta hit the hard reset button. We out, y'all.
See you guys later.
This thing just say, do you want to shut down? Of course I want to shut down. I can't click the button. Y'all can leave. Don't look at me failing right now. Don't look at me. I'm embarrassed.